recording to talk about invisible relationships. I've had a couple, and most recently, I was in an imaginary relationship for probably 6 years, and started seeing somebody new, just really, really brand new. Met this person in a running group, and I've recently moved to a new city, so I was anxious to try to put the old relationship behind me and start a new one. And plus, I just love running, so joined a running group to make friends. It took me an awful long time here. I still really don't consider these people my friends. I've been running with them for once a week for over a year, but I don't have any of their phone numbers. Well, I have one girl's phone number, and I could call her and ask her if she wanted to hang out, go to a movie or go for coffee or something. But the rest of them, it's mostly men. The only other number I have is one of the guys that is a realtor, and this guy I was seeing. So of the ones that I talk to the most in the running club when I go, I don't have any of those people's phone numbers. I just have sort of incidental. So anyway, started dating the new guy in the running club, and I had to tell him after a little while that no dice, because I am not going back into an invisible relationship or imaginary relationship. Did I call it invisible relationship? It might as well be invisible, but the real term that I meant to use is imaginary relationship. And I said, I can't go back to an imaginary relationship. And I said, I don't do one-night stands. I don't do friends with benefits. And I'm not going into starting another imaginary relationship. So he goes, well, I don't do one-night stands either or hookups. He goes, I have no idea what you mean by imaginary relationship. So I figured and I know nobody is really using that term, and I think that phrase, and I think it's so apropos for so many relationships that I know about, hear about, and have been in. So what is it? An imaginary relationship is where you spend a majority of your time imagining what it would be like, not imagining that you're in a real relationship, not being delusional about the fact that you don't really have a boyfriend, but you believe you do, right? That's not it. That's more like liminal, right? This is imaginary, where you don't really have a relationship, but you want one really badly, and you spend a lot of your time sitting around imagining what it would be like to have that person's company with you. For me, I didn't have this person's physical company hardly ever. The only time I did was for a hookup. The rest of the time was just me imagining what it would be like to go grocery shopping together, what it would be like to just have them sitting there in the car next to me, what it would be like to go running together, what it would be like to be able to go get a cup of coffee together, what it would be like to have him call me on the phone, what it would be like to come home from work and have him standing in my apartment, taking my things from me, helping me to get out of my work clothes and relaxed, and a meal. Imagining going out to a restaurant. Imagining going to a basketball game together. Imagining going to a football game together. I mean, my whole effing life was imagining. And so It's like an imagination relationship, an imagining relationship. That's what I call them. And, you know, it's so hard because you can't just tell somebody, like, get out of an imaginary relationship. Because what you're doing is imagining it, like, it's not like being in the relationship with the physical person and you can tell them leave the relationship, because you can leave it physically, right? You can still be thinking about it, but at least you can exit it in one way. You can physically leave it. But in an imaginary relationship, it's all imaginary. And you're not going to just be able to leave it, because the defining of the relationship is you're imagining it. So you can't just tell somebody not to imagine it anymore. And I think it differs also from a limerence, because in a limerence you can separate your you have that's more of a preoccupation and an obsession, and almost like it almost can be like a stalking of the relationship. And you don't necessarily have to follow the person or look up the person, go to their work and stand outside the door or look in the window at somebody to be stalking them. Yeah, it is social media that you can stalk on and that sort of thing. But you can stalk a relationship by following somebody, social media page, by continuing to call them or to email them or to be, some people I've heard of on YouTube have moved to the city where the person lives that they're having a liminal infatuation with. So you're actually doing things, and maybe if you stop doing those things to convince yourself that this person is the one for you, like you're actually doing things to make some sort of happening, occur. And maybe if you stop doing those things and you really need to be firm with yourself and get a dose of reality and understand that the person is not interested. They're not into you. They are not in a relationship with you. They don't want to be in a relationship with you. They're not going to be in a relationship with you. And that's it. You can leave all those things behind, stop doing them, right? And then you're left with the imaginary relationship. So the imaginary relationship is what's left, right? And it's, I think, the hardest thing to stop, because there's nothing to remove yourself from, right? You can't remove yourself from the physical space. There's no way to remove yourself from stalking or the obsessive patterns of behavior in your life that you're doing because you hope to run into somebody one way or another. There's the only thing that's left is the imagining. And what are you going to do? You're going to tell yourself to stop imagining? It's just not going to happen. And I don't know if, I think, well, if you're in a liminal relationship and part of it in the end is what's left is the imagining, then to recover or get over a liminal relationship can take even longer, right? One thing is for sure is I'm not doing anything liminal with this guy, okay? I'm not when I was in the relationship with him, I did try to look him up on social media, and I found out almost nothing. And which was a sign to me that's not good. You should, when you're trying to date somebody and trying to get to know somebody, One thing that you really should look at, and don't feel guilty about it, is for some kind of social media existence. Because if they don't have a social media account, no matter how lame they say it is or whatever, don't believe it. If they don't have one, it's purposeful they don't have one. They should, if it's a guy, he should at least have a Strava account, okay? I mean, the Strava account is a social media account for athletes. And if he doesn't have any other social media, he should at least have Strava, because he should be working out. And none of the men that I know who work out are not on Strava unless they have something to hide, right? So what they would do is, if they're married or if they're in a relationship, they're not going to say they have a Facebook page, are they? No. And, they might even give you the wrong last name. Like, I looked this guy up by his first and last name, and I found a media account on Facebook. It had no pictures that I could see, and it wasn't like it was not a private account. It was a public account, but it had like nothing in it. And so what does that mean? Something there is not kosher. Okay. Like, maybe he was trying to tell me that he was getting a divorce or whatever. And maybe his wife had a Facebook account that they were both in. And so when he separated, he, told her, take my name off your account. I don't want to have a joint Facebook account anymore. I'll just do my own thing. Maybe she did that. Because I even looked to see, like, if there was anybody else by the same last name, and it was kind of a rare last name, so I think I would have found something. Like, say she still thinks that she's happily married and has an account, right? She would use their last name. And I could go on there and find that account by his last name, but there wasn't even that. So he could be married and using a fake last name, okay? And it's hard to understand it. Probably that's not the case, I really don't believe that this guy would do that, but I have met men that I did believe would do it, okay? And usually what the case is if they're married and if they're lying, they'll just say, I don't have a social media account. And believe me, you will never find one. But so that is a really good sign that they are married or in a relationship. If you go online and you look for something for them, for a social media account, and they don't have one, because they'll say, oh, I don't have one. And they'll just give you their first name. Like, if they're trying to meet you through Instagram, they'll just give you their first name. Or if it's through Tinder, they'll give you a first name. And it might not even be their real first name. And you ask them, oh, you get to talking to them, you talk to them for a while, and then you're like, okay, well, they're like, let's meet up. And you're like, okay, do you have a Facebook account or a Instagram account? No. Okay, well then goodbye. That's your response, okay? Don't waste your fucking time. Because even though a lot of men, maybe it is true that men nowadays don't want to have social media accounts and they think they're lame and drama, and they just don't want one. They don't socialize that way. You don't take that risk. When you're dating somebody and you meet somebody, especially if you're older, like if you're 20, you don't need to be like too worried that a guy you just met is hiding a marriage. But if you're in your 40s and you're dating a guy who's in his 40s and he tells you he doesn't have a social media account, and you don't really kind of know what's going on with him, and he lives out of town, just don't even waste your time. Don't even waste your time wondering if he's married or not. If you can't find that information out quickly and verify that he's not married, then just don't even bother with him, because it's ridiculous, okay? Especially if, like, after a couple weeks he hasn't invited you to his house, or you can't get a straight answer of where he works. Like, he says something like, You're like, where do you work? And he's like, oh, I manage such and such out of an office in the next major city over, which is like over 100 miles away. Okay, 70, 80 miles away. Do you know who the fuck knows what he's doing in his life? He could have, I met a guy recently who was not home 2 or 3 weeks out of the month and home 1 week or some crap like that. And he said he managed construction in another city. Yeah, bullshit. Okay, goodbye. You don't know what the hell they're doing. They've got another life in another city and a wife there and kids, and they keep an apartment on the side, and they just do it for the sole purpose because they want to have strange sex with a stranger or somebody they don't know, and that is what they are doing. Okay, it is disgusting. It is so bad for you. So just don't. If you can't verify who a guy is, and you can't verify where he's worked for the past 10 years, don't even bother. Don't waste your time, because you're going to be spending all your time wondering what the hell is going on. Chances are you're not going to know the truth. Okay. Why I say you want to verify their work. Okay. Let's just talk about that for a minute. If you work for a company, right? Say you live in a small town, or a good-sized town, whatever, rural, and you know most of the local companies, right? Like the hospital, the college nearby, the chain of grocery stores nearby, whatever, right? A law firm nearby or something like that, right? If the guy has been there 10 years, you can pretty much guarantee he's pretty normal, right? Like, he can hold a job, and those people where he works have been working with him for 10 years, and he hasn't left. So therefore, you can assume he's not crazy or an asshole, because if he were crazy and an asshole, he would not be working in a job like that. I'll tell you what he'd be doing. He'd be doing something on his own. HVAC, carpentry, come to your house and do mechanical work, landscaping, anything like trash removal, helping you move, these kinds of things. All these little things on his own, where he doesn't have to know anybody for an extended period of time and prove his character over the course of several years. The other thing is that somebody who has worked in a local company for a number of years is not going to be out on the town trying to date a woman. If he's married, he won't be doing that in the vicinity of his company. They won't even take you out to lunch, okay? Innocently. They won't be seen anywhere out in public with a woman who's not their wife, because they're not going to take that chance that somebody in their company is going to see them out. They won't do it. Men are fucking paranoid. I've even known men who were married. I agreed to go out with them. They wanted to come over to my apartment and just fuck me and not do anything else. And I said, can we just go out for lunch? And I can understand, maybe you don't want to take me for dinner, but what's in this for me? And they would be like, well, I'll bring over some Chinese food. You've got to be kidding me. Oh, of course I said no. But I've said to them, can't we just go for lunch? How about, and they're like, no way. Somebody could see me, right? And I'm like, well, what if you had your friends and I joined you? Like, you had a couple friends and I joined you. His friends knew he was looking for somebody new or on the side. His wife hadn't had sex with him in 5 years or 10 years or whatever it was. In that case, go ahead and fucking cheat. She won't have sex with you. Go on and find a different girl to fuck. Why not? But he wouldn't even do that. He wouldn't even have me with 2 or 3 other friends sitting next to them all at a table. He wouldn't even do that. They will not do it. They're scared to death that either somebody in their firm or company will think they're cheating on their wife, or that somebody will tell their wife. Okay, so they're not going to do it. But anyway, that's the thing. If you're stalking, you're in limerence, whatever, You're looking things up and you're doing things and you're pursuing, like trying to find avenues to be in contact with this person. And an invisible relationship, you're sitting around all the time imagining yourself in a relationship. All right, so this is how it played out in our situation, me with this guy. I met him out running. I walked up to him. I could tell right away from the look on his face. I mean, he's eyeing me up and down that he liked me. Okay, he liked what he saw. So, this is what I thought. Okay, maybe he just wasn't that into me. I don't know. He was my age, which was really nice, which is older. But he was in pretty good physical shape. And, I wouldn't say he'd been an athlete his whole life, but he was in good shape for his age, which was like, I don't find men like that often. So I was excited by it. And we got to talking a couple times, and I invited him. We were going to watch, all of us in the running group. It was like an open invitation to join up on Saturday there to watch the football game for the local college. And so I invited him, and he was going to come. And I said to him, he was sitting close to me and everything. I said to him, maybe we could go get some dinner after, someplace nice. Because the bar that we go to watch the game is a dive. I wouldn't eat there. I said, take you, if you come down and watch the game with us, I'll take you. We'll go someplace nice for dinner afterwards. Someplace not expensive, but we'll go to a diner or something. So it's like, okay, all right. So he came. He gave me a hug when he saw me. I got dressed up. Something really cute I wore, and we went and watched the game, and it was so much fun to have him there with me. For one time in my life, I wasn't imagining myself, out with a guy having fun. I was actually out with a guy having fun. It was unbelievable. And we went to a diner, and it was just really great. We did get to talking about our exes, and he thought like, oh, you still have anger issues. So like, that's just not true. He's kind of like presumptive like that, which I didn't like. I was just trying to tell him the story, and yeah, I do get a little animated, but no, I do not like walk around with anger issues in my life over my ex-husband. A couple of other things that he told me that I wasn't into is he's a real churchgoer, which I am not at all. I think it is stupid. I have a relationship with Jesus, but I don't attend church regularly, and most of the people that I know who do are a bunch of phonies and hypocrites, and they're dumb, and they don't even act with a basic moral compass in their life on simple things, okay? And I don't know why the hell they spend their time in church, because it's just amounting to zero benefit for them. But anyway, I'm not a churchgoer, and I never will be. And so, and I tried to make that clear to him too, so he didn't get too, I didn't want to blow his hopes out, if he's really convinced that he needed to find a church-going woman, because I'm in a Bible Belt state, and a lot of men are like that. Like, they really want a Christian girl, and I'm not that, okay? So anyway, so that was a kind of a red flag. And also he mentioned something about, I've been trying to give up drinking. I've cutting down. He's really kept talking about like, oh, I exercise more and I cut out drinking. Like a few times he brought up drinking. And I can't be with an alcoholic. I grew up with alcoholics in my family. I don't even want to be with somebody who's like a weekend drinker. I mean, maybe a drink or two a week in front of me, or a couple beers on a Saturday while they're watching the game. Yeah, that's all right. I don't mind that, but I don't want to date a regular drinker. I just can't do it. I have too much childhood trauma around that issue. So that was another red flag for me. All right. So then we, had that date, and we started texting each other. And I think I volunteered to send him a picture because I could kind of tell he was hinting that he'd like to see like what I really kind of look like with less clothes on. And so I sent him a picture of me in I had lingerie on. I don't have any nudes, and I don't send nudes. So fuck them. They want to see you nude. Let them come to your house and see you nude. Right? So we were texting quite a bit. And, I got the feeling, or I thought, he wanted a relationship. The first weekend after that, he didn't see me. He said he had plans to spend with his son, his grown son, and like a church thing or something. That's what he told me. And so I was upset by that. Okay. That's a red flag for me. Like, I don't do men who only want to date on Wednesdays or Tuesday mornings at the Waffle House because the rest of their life is too busy. No, I am prime real estate. If you're not making me the star of your weekend, you're not having me. That's it. That's the rule. That's the rule for me. That's the rule for you now. You are no longer the thing that happens every other Wednesday at 8 a.m. Okay? They are making you the star of their weekend, or fuck them. Okay? And I don't care. Like, he doesn't have to spend money. We don't have to go to a fancy restaurant. I'm not a big restaurant goer, but we could go to the lake hiking. We can go stand up paddleboarding. We could go out running. We can just sit and watch TV together. I don't care what it is, but I am not going to be the sitting home alone on a Saturday and Sunday, Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, and imagining that I have a boyfriend. Okay. And that's what it is. That's imaginary. So the Monday after that weekend, he called me up and said, we got to talking, or he texted me and said he had been to a concert, a Christian rock concert, which I would never go to, totally puke, but whatever, he wanted to go, puke, right? And then I was I'm like, that's a huge red flag. Instead of seeing me over the weekend, even though it's brand new, he still should have been like, okay, Sunday night we're on, Saturday night we're on, okay? Not fucking around. Not being like, oh my God, what would I rather do? Go out with her or go to a concert? If you have to ask, why isn't he taking me out on the Friday or Saturday night? As soon as you meet, if he's not locking you down for a Friday or Saturday night date, forget him. Forget him. It's not going to get better. Okay. And you're imagining yourself in a relationship after that. If you have to imagine yourself with an actual person next to you, any time after that first sign, you might as well forget it, okay? So then what happened is he texted me again. It's just texting me all week, This is stupid. Like, they're getting your asset. That's your asset. You spending time flirting with them in text, sending them a little picture so they can get their rub on, whatever. Those are your assets, and the only people who get those assets from now on are boyfriend girlfriend situation. They get the assets. If it's not boyfriend girlfriend, they don't get the assets. So then we're getting towards the end. We're starting up here on another week, and he told me last time we talked, like Tuesday night, he wasn't going to be able to get down here for a couple weeks. He lives like 80 miles away. You think I care? No. You only have to drive the 80 miles once or twice. You come down here, you go back. It's not like you're doing it every day, right? If he's not, locking me down for the weekend, then no. I don't care what the reason is that he thinks. November is a really busy work month. Goodbye. Sorry. You're not spending enough time with me. He's like, what do you mean? I said, you're not spending enough time with me. This is like an invisible relationship. I can't do it. I'm not doing it. I don't know what invisible means. I don't have time to explain it to you. Figure it out on your own. It's not that hard. Think about it. What do you think an invisible relationship is? Or not an invisible. I keep saying that. Sorry. I'm like, what do you think an imaginary relationship is? It's not that hard to figure it out. Think it up. I'm spending more time imagining myself doing something with you than actually doing something with you, then that's an imaginary relationship. It's not hard to figure out. So anyway, I broke it off, and he's like, I hope we can be friends. Yeah, well, no. What you're saying right there is you're hoping that I'll continue to text you. That's not going to happen. My mental energy is reserved for myself or boyfriend and girlfriend. That's it. No more imagining relationships. No more sending pictures. No more texting. No more stroking your ego. Those are all assets you could have had. And I'm a dime piece, and so are you. And we're not going to do this imaginary relationship bullshit anymore. Not going to come down here for 2 weeks? Fuck off.
You think, no, it just, I don't know. Maybe he wasn't really interested. I certainly did think he was. I told him once, I said, I don't think you have what it takes. He's like, I do. I certainly have what it takes. I'm like, okay. Well, he couldn't put his money where his mouth was, could he? I won't be down there for a couple of weeks. Guess what? If a guy ever says that to you, he's not interested. Move on. Dump his ass right away. Every weekend, you are the star of the weekend. I don't care what he's doing. I don't care if he's got toddlers. I don't care if he's got work. I don't care if he's in school. I don't care if it's the weekend of the game. I don't care if he's going out with friends. You are the star of the weekend. And if you are not the star of the weekend, then you are out of that relationship, out of it. And because you are not spending one more week of your life imagining what it would have been like to have had a date on a Saturday night, okay? I did it for 6 years. I'm ending it. I'm ending the invisible relationship for you, for me, for mankind. That's it. The end. No more.